We're live. Welcome back. Good to be with you, everyone who's here with me on Zoom, and all of you that are joining on Facebook Live. Good to be with you. We're talking about paraliminals, and today and tomorrow, our exploration is with ideal weight, and today is session A. Now, the way in which that program is established is session A is about your relationship with your body, and session B is about your relationship with food. One of the things you may know about my early years in human development is that I worked as a clinical hypnotherapist at the oldest established hypnosis practice in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. And that was way back when I was just 19 and 20 years old, going to the University of Minnesota as a biological sciences student. And I was hired to do individual consultations in hypnosis. And one of the things that I worked with probably more than anything else is weight loss. When I designed the ideal weight paraliminal, I designed it not just for weight loss. You see, if a person is underweight, they could also use it to get to their ideal weight. If you're overweight, you can use it to get to your ideal weight. You establish your goal. All the time, it's going to be related to two items. One is how you relate to your physical body, and the other is how you relate to food. Now, in the early days, I thought, well, if a person is overweight, which is usually what I was working with when I was doing hypnosis sessions, it's because of what they're putting in. Then I had a client who's 90 pounds overweight. And when I really asked, what is it that you eat on a day and during the week? And what it was so minimal. It was almost ridiculous. For lunch, it was 3 little celery sticks, she practically ate nothing at all. And yet she was, by medical testimony, morbidly obese. So what was going on there? As I worked with her, I discovered that she had been in a very bad marital relationship that she had gotten out of. One of the things that her husband forced her to do was to go into the hospital and get tested on all of her metabolic functions to figure out why she was overweight. It was really against her will, and she was very angry about it. 10 days on intravenous feeding. What's the best way to get even with him and the medical doctor? During that 10 days where she should have lost 15 to 20 pounds, you guessed it, she put on 10. Now, when I talked with her and figured out what was going on in her mind, she was still waging that battle. When she released that excess mental and emotional baggage from her, she lost 90 pounds. And I stayed in contact with her for years. Very nice decrease in weight over a period of months. And she got all 90 pounds off of her body. It was stunning to see her. Another woman I worked with, when my wife and I had dinner at her and her husband's home one night, I saw her, she was 60 pounds less than when I had worked with her during a personal growth program that I was teaching to her and her husband. And I said, how did you lose weight? That much weight? She said, well, I just did what you told me. I said, remind me what it is that I told you. She said, well, you said, eat what it is that you need in order to feel satisfied. And once you're satisfied, simply push the plate away. Well, I'd take a bite of food. I'd put down my fork. I'd chew it up. I'd enjoy it. It was delicious, wonderful. Take another bite, maybe a third or fourth. And after that, I was satisfied. I was full. I was nourished. I didn't need any more. And the weight just melted away from my body over a series of months. Well, again, pretty cool. It was her relationship with herself and her food that made that difference for her. Third woman that I remember came in to see me. She had called up the hypnosis center and established a series of appointments for weight loss. When she walked in my office, she was a petite woman, maybe 100 pounds, but certainly not overweight, which is what I was used to seeing at the clinic. And I quick checked my book to see, what was she coming in for? And it turned out that she felt that her ideal weight was 98 pounds. And if she was 100, she felt obese. And she was at that time 103 pounds. So I didn't have to work with her really to lose weight. It was really about her self-image, her relationship to her physical body. The weight came off very easily. She maintained her ideal weight. She became a client for many of the programs I taught to business people. And I think I stayed in contact with her for 10, 15 years. Never had a problem again. So I'm telling you all of these stories by way of helping understand that it's not just the food that goes in. It really is a much more complex issue about your relationship with your physical body and your mind and the food. So when you get that straight, you begin living a life that's lighter and freer and much more on point to the natural weight your body is intended to maintain. So what is the ideal weight of your body? When you live your life in a way that's lighter and freer, that when you eat to nourish yourself, you're going to naturally get to that ideal weight. When you eat because you're stressed, when you eat because you think you deserve a little treat and that little treat becomes a habit, and well, you can guess how many ways this could go sideways. The idea is when you are in the sweet spot of your relationship with yourself and your relationship to food, you're going to be at your ideal weight and maintain it throughout your entire life. Now, there are three components to the ideal weight session A that are quite profound in terms of assisting you in getting to that ideal state. One is called timeline therapy, where you can imagine yourself on a line that extends out into the future and back into the past. And where you are at this present moment, you can reference the negative states you may have been in the past and imagine the positive states of body and mind that you'll be in the future. And where you are now is a choice point. This day is filled with the choices and the opportunities you'll take in order to move forward to your ideal weight. Another concept that's built into this program is this idea that on a path, you'll come to three doors. One of the doors opens the way doors do. And when you go through it, you'll discover you've already been there before. Second door opens a little bit differently. But when you go through it, at first it seems different. But when you get to the end, you realize you already know this one as well. Then there's the third door, and it opens very unusually in a way that you wouldn't consider that door to open. And when you go through it and you start walking in that environment, you'll discover many new choices and options you'd never experienced before. And this is the idea that when we're attempting to solve our problem, whatever it may be, whether we're overweight, underweight, eating poorly, bad choices, bad habits of eating, whatever it might be, Normally, when we go about trying to solve that problem, we'll do one of the first several normal techniques that we always use. And year after year, we keep implementing that same problem-solving strategy, and we end up at the same place. But when we take a novel approach and we really consider solving this problem in a way that we've never solved it before, we begin to discover new choices or options, ways of getting where we want to go that we may not have ever considered before. And it's those creative ways of solving our problem that shift us into a new problem-solving paradigm. See, for every problem we have, we generate solutions that have attendant problems with them, right? So we have this problem, solution creates problems, creates solutions, creates problems. And that's our problem-solving paradigm. Now, when we transcend that, we find another way of solving the way we've gone about solving this problem. That's when breakthrough occurs. That's where the real transformation can take place. So embedded within Ideal Weight Session A is this protocol for discovering new ways of approaching and solving this particular problem. And the third concept that's embedded within this program is imagining your physical body surrounded by a sphere of light, an energy bubble of light. And anything that doesn't belong to you, you exhale and it leaves that sphere of light. And this sphere of light is filled with all the healing, loving, forgiving powers of the universe. It's really a lovely image. And when you recognize that as you release any negative programs, attachments, issues that you may have been hanging on to, like my client who lost her 90 pounds, basically you get to live today much more lighter and much more freer. So when you ask yourself today, right now, what's lighter? What's freer? How can I proceed today with this choice? When I come to a choice point, I've got two possibilities. What's lighter and freer? What's the old way that doesn't get me where I want to go? And at this choice point, can I make that choice to what's lighter and freer? So enjoy this paraliminal. It's a real delight. Again, it's about your relationship with yourself. So it's a good, feel-good paraliminal. You know, there's a couple of ways to listen to paraliminals. One is just for general reasons to feel good and to have a positive relationship with your mind and body. And the other is for a specific issue that you're trying to address. Well, this could be throughout the year one of those feel-good paraliminals that you turn to just to put it on, sit back, relax, and have a lovely little rest. Enjoy it. I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll play with Ideal Weight Session B. Thanks very much for being a part of this. Bye for now. Have a great day.